Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 7. And this is going to be my review for episode 10 for this season, otherwise entitled Family Matters Part 1. So yeah, part 1 of a two-part finale for this storyline. So yeah. But of course, if you don't watch the episode, you don't want to hear all the spoilers because we're going to be talking about everything major from this episode, go away, watch the episode, then come back later on. But of course, if you are continuing on the video, be sure let me know your various opinions, thoughts, theories, anything like that in the comment section down below. Just let me know what you thought of this episode overall. Always curious to hear that, your general thoughts, as well as what you think is going to happen next episode as well in the the follow-up and the proper finale for this storyline. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the episode, enjoy the video, you did enjoy the episode as well, and you just want to show your support for the video on the channel, want to drop a like on it to show support for all of that. So last episode was, of course, Timeless. We had Timeless, or original Harrison Wells, come back into the picture to potentially help Barry erase the forces from ever being created. However, Barry turns off that basically due to what Joe reveals to him about pretty much letting people fulfill their potential and, prove themselves to you, as well as just the impact that it has going forward past, this week, but, decades into the future as well. And, what those creation of the forces lead to as well. But of course, at the end of the episode, we actually do see DION encountered by the Speed Force. That's where it cuts off. And we're like, okay, well, where's this going to lead? And that's exactly where we pick up in this episode. We pick up with DION facing off against the Speed Force. I wasn't too sure if we were going to get some sort of showdown or not. You can tell Dion's a bit like, I'm not too sure what's going on here. I'm a bit scared, but at the same time, still a bit confident like we've seen him do before. But pretty much the Speed Force are just trying to get DION on her side against Barry and as well as the other forces to help her on her mission. Now, they still go on with the whole mother and father stuff, and it's weird. And they call each other like sis and bro. Look, it's weird. They're sticking with it. I'm not too sure who thought that was a good idea. I don't think anyone necessarily likes it. It still makes you wince a bit when it happens, but just pretend like they're saying, I don't know, Apple. I don't know, whenever they say, mother, father, brother, sister, children, all that stuff, just pretend they're saying another word. That's what I try and do. It helps. Now, just to get out of the way quick, I guess, we'll bring it up later, but we'll just go through it almost like chronologically. But we did have actually Camilla already planning the move for her and Cisco. So Miami seems like a potential place they're going to go, because they were mentioning San Francisco last episode, but I guess that was just like a detour they would have gone to. And Cisco does seem to be like second guessing everything in regards to it, but we do end up finding out what Cisco's vision was that we saw back in episode 5, I think it was. And so Cisco reveals his vision from Psych to Camilla, and it's pretty much him in 40 years. He's still in Star Labs, and everyone has moved on apart from himself. He was the only one there, just him left. So it makes sense why he is willing to take the out from Central City with Camilla while he can, because he knows potentially what could happen if he doesn't. Like, if Camilla goes without him, if she sees it's better for her to go, even if it does mean leaving Cisco behind, then maybe that Cisco, that future Cisco saw is potentially what's going to happen. So it will be interesting. Like they did a lot of setup with Cisco this episode. I don't think they're going to do anything with it next week, I would assume, because it just seems like a lot of stuff has to happen next week. So I think they just spent some of this episode setting it up, because episode 12 is his goodbye episode, the episode after next week. So yeah. Now, we did have Psych attack some guy called Caleb. We weren't really sure his importance. And Psych does reveal his true identity of Bashir, but Caleb knows who he is. Now, Psych has attacked 3 other billionaires like Caleb previously, and I think it was that exact same day. Not sure if Caleb was the last one or the first one. But they're not just random targets. Team Citizen is tracking down these potential remaining targets for Psych, and they're all connected. It's like some college Ivy League program thingamajiggy. And we also learn a bit about Bashir or Psych, and we knew that was going to happen this episode because we learned about DION, we learned about Alexa, but we didn't know anything about Psych. So we learned that Bashir was orphaned twice, once by his birth parents and then again by his adoptive parents. And he felt sorry. He was like burned in general from everyone he saw close to him, in his life. Even his parents, his adoptive parents, were leaving him behind, and they were battling the country because they were in so much debt and trying to avoid tax and stuff like that. So it makes sense the way he is from how he perceives he's been treated throughout his life by not only his parents, because they were dodgy in the first place, but, you know, especially his friends. Now, Kristen Kramer plays she returns in this episode and she plays a role. So Joe meets with her and she's just suspicious in general about the meta disappearances and the quick ins and outs of certain CCPD employees in the past. They bring up Patty Spivot, Julian Albert, and stuff like that, who we know are associated with Team Flash. And Kristen has just figured a workaround after Frost stopped her anti-meta plan. And obviously Joe isn't too happy about that. So he's trying to flip the script, but it's harder than that because it seems like it's like Joe's a one-man army, like pretty much, you know, going against Kristen. Kristen has all this backing. Joe's pretty much got no backing, even though he is the captain of CCPD. So Joe's in a big pickle. Now, the thing that we knew that was going to happen this episode was really the only thing they put in the promo material, and that was Alexa being trained to control her powers and mainly the Faweza side of her. Now, Barry's encounter with Psych doesn't make him confident that he can take on Psych alone. He does need Alexa and I guess mainly Faweza to help. Now, Team Flash, I don't know what I was trying to say there. Team Flash tried to like manually bring out Faweza, which I guess works. I think manually is the best way to put it. So it works, but it's not in the way they wanted. I'm surprised Cisco didn't die. I mean, he just didn't like abracadabra get hit in the exact same way and died. So Cisco must have eaten these, what do they call them in America? Wheaties? Wheaties, the sports cereal. He must have eaten them in the morning because, you know, he took it like a champ. Now, one of the bigger issues is like, how do they deal with it? Because Barry wants to move things quickly due to the issues at hand with the Speed Force. And I know the name says it pretty, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. Speed Force. You think the Speed Force is going to start doing things pretty quickly, and Barry and the team have limited time. So you can understand where Barry's coming from. But something as volatile as Faweza, you know, some extra time is needed. Caitlin does end up suggesting talking to Faweza like she did with Frost back in the day. I think they rushed through this a tiny bit. I didn't really care too much though, because I think just sitting there and listening to it would have been a bit boring. So I don't mind them rushing through it, but I can see some people going, well, hold on. They just snapped their fingers and they went through with it. But I think just for the sake of the episode and just viewing pleasure, it's probably better they just made it happen. But we see that play out, like the communication thing, if you want to call it, when we have Flash and Faweza versus Psych on that very scenic road, that very scenic coastal curved road. So Alexa's able to communicate or contact Faweza with the help from I was going to say Frost, but Caitlin did it. Now, this is the thing that was sort of like, with the help of Iris and her investigation and Team Citizen. So they're able to relay this information, and Bashir learns that only one of his college friends was against him, which was that woman that we saw earlier in the episode. I can't remember what her name was. We'll just call her Woman. I don't really pay attention to these random characters that are irrelevant going forward. Yeah, so Woman that Psych attacked, that he went to college with, she was the only one that went against him. The others were actually trying to help. They set up this fund to help him because of everything that was happened to him. And, you know, he would just push them away. Whenever they try to approach him or anything like that, he would push them away. And Alexa and Barry are able to get through to him, and he's able to come to their side. Once again, you could argue this is a bit rushed, but I think if that was the one thing motivating Bashir, as soon as he learns like that what he was sort of going against and what was sort of like pushing him was just something that he constructed in his head, or at least one little person's actions push him to believe one big thing, it sort of makes everything crumble. So once again, argue it could have been rushed, but once again, the story just has to progress pretty quickly. So Bashir is on the team now. So we have Bashir, Alexa, and Barry, and I guess Iris, because Iris is like sort of like connected to the whole thing and everything like that. Now, once again, the whole terminology with like the mother, father, brother, sister stuff was a bit weird, but we just have to move on with it, don't we? But one of the things, you know, well, the thing towards the end of the episode that I'm pretty sure caught a lot of us off guard, but I guess it makes sense, especially considering the type of man that we know Joe is that Joe gives up his role as captain of the Central City Police Department due to Kristen Kramer's endeavors. And I was just like, oh my God, but as Joe does say, like, he's staying on the right side of the line. And we know that Joe's having this storyline. Obviously, I guess you could argue it started a couple of episodes ago with just Kristen Kramer's activity, but this is like the focal point of it, where this is just going to push it forward. I'm very intrigued to see where Joe's storyline goes with it. With like, they label it as like an abuse of power thing, which I guess it is with Kristen. So yeah, I'm just excited and just intrigued to see where Joe goes, because he's now doing it outside of as a law officer. So let's see where that goes. But yeah, the big post-credit scene for this episode, which we expected would get something like that, especially at the end of a part 1 to, you know, push forward and fuel the next episode, is that DION and the Speed Force enter Star Labs, and I was like, oh, okay, what's going to happen here? And DION freezes time, and the Speed Force is actually able to drain the power from the other forces, except Barry. So Barry's not really affected. So it's pretty much the same thing she did to Alexa, but to all of them. But she does leave DION alive. DION like transports her out there. So I'm just curious. I'd have to assume that Psych, Bashir, Alexa, as well as Iris are dead, just like how Alexa was, because it's the same thing that happened there. The thing is that this is what I'm assuming happens, is pretty much Barry's goal next episode is like, if they want to, I guess, revive Bashir, Alexa, and Iris, is that he needs DION on his side, and they can do the similar thing that Iris and Barry did to Alexa. I'm assuming that's what would happen. That's just me guessing and just assuming, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna take a stab at. But overall, this episode, I thought it was just okay. Like, I thought it was pretty mid. I thought it was a lot of just set up and build up, and they put some stuff in there to fill the gaps. And I think they might have stretched some stuff as well. Like, I think, like it was weird. They stretched some stuff, but then rushed some stuff at the same time. So yeah, I'm a bit like not crazy on the episode. It's probably not it's definitely not one of the stronger episodes of the season. So yeah, it was okay. Like, I think it served its purpose in the story, but yeah, I'm not going to put it in any top 10 list or anything like that. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode or the video as well. If you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comments section down below. You're looking forward to the conclusion of this. What do you think is going to happen? Any theories? I wonder if there's going to be a big cliffhanger at the end of next week's episode to fuel the next storyline that's going to be happening. I'm very curious to see what they do there and just how this wraps up in general. But yeah, let me know if your thoughts down there. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.